All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I think some of you have joined us, but I have your cameras off. I guess that's fine. The rest of us will be on camera. Thank you, Sheriff Bailey. And I will call this meeting to order at 12:15 for the Berrien County Community Corrections Advisory Board. Hopefully everybody received the materials from Haley. Give me a shout right now if for some reason you did not receive those. Looks like nobody's indicating they didn't, so everybody should have received those. Today's meeting is a relatively short meeting to deal with some very specific issues. So let's deal with the approval of the March 17th minutes first. Everybody should have received those. Nobody indicated they didn't. If you didn't receive those, please let me know right now. Anybody have any corrections to those minutes or issues with the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
This is Chief Owner. I'll make the motion.
I'll
Thank
second
you,
it,
Chief.
Sheriff Bailey.
All right, with a second by Sheriff Bailey. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
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 Any not in favor, say nay. Nobody. All right. Minutes are approved from March 17th. So as I indicated, you should all have received the agenda. Again, we've got a couple of issues on the agenda for today, specifically a mid-year budget adjustment proposed by Haley, which we'll go over in a minute, and then review and approval of the fiscal year 2022, which we talked about at our March meeting, again, which was we'll talk about with Haley in a minute as well. With that, does anybody have anything to add to the agenda for today's meeting? Hearing nothing. All right. Then we will go on to the proposed fiscal year this year, 2021 mid-year budget adjustment. You should have all received from Haley the adjustment, which if you look at the comprehensive plans and service funds, this was included again with Haley's packet. She is proposing an increase in the men in crisis or domestic violence program budget. Thank you, Haley. And a decrease in the substance abuse testing. Haley, do you want to address that?
Sure, yeah. So at this point in the fiscal year, it looks like we are on target to surpass the allocated funding amount of $10,000 for the Men in Crisis program. So my proposal is just to add $4,000 to that line item in the budget and take the $4,000 from the substance abuse testing line item in the budget, and specifically $2,000 from the MDOC enhanced testing program and $2,000 from the drug treatment court testing program. Reason being that drug treatment court numbers are currently low, so we're not on target to spend all of that funding. Same with the MDOC enhanced drug testing program at this point in the fiscal year. Due to COVID and things like that, we're not it doesn't look like we will utilize all of that funding. So that's why from the MDOC or from the substance abuse testing line item to the Men in Crisis line item.
Haley, do you think that $4,000 will cover us to the end of the fiscal year?
I do. I think it's predicted to be right at that line item, or right at that $14,000. So, I mean, if the board chooses to allocate more, that's, I'm fine with that. We can always do another amendment later on in the fiscal year if we need to.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Haley or any discussion about that adjustment to the budget? You're a very quiet group today. All right, then with no questions, it sounds like Haley did a good job of explaining the adjustment. All those in favor of the adjustment as proposed by Haley, signal by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Hearing no nays, then we will approve the budget adjustment as requested by Haley. And then we can move on to review and approval of the fiscal year 2022 grant proposal. In your packet should have been a couple of items sent by Haley. The spreadsheet in which showed us the fiscal year 2020 as well as the fiscal year 2021, and then the proposed 2022. And then you can see Haley gave us some options for fiscal year 2022 proposed budget. Haley, do you want to go ahead and explain that?
Yeah, so per the board's discussion at the last meeting, I know there was some talk of adding an MRT program just based on our community needs. And so I did go ahead and create two separate budget proposals. The first one you can see is a total of $195,739 for fiscal year 22. And the second proposal is a total of $204,489. And that would be that added funding is due to the $8,750 for a proposed MRT program, and that would serve 10 more probationers with that amount of funding. So in fiscal year 20, we did have an MRT program, and we served, we enrolled a total of 8 participants in the MRT program. So that is why I allocated for 10 projected enrollments. So, I mean, it's, I know there's some discussions either way, so I don't know if the board wanted to discuss if the preferred proposal is the first one or the second option.
Anybody have any questions for Haley or any discussion? We did discuss the MRT program last time at our March meeting. So it's really a question of whether we want to ask that additional funding. It sounds like it was used when it was included before. Amber, you have any input on that?
Amber wasn't able to attend the meeting. This is Marvin.
Oh, thank you, Marvin.
Yeah, I believe that it would be useful. As you mentioned before, we were using it, and to have it again would be helpful to the agents.
I have a
Is there a-
question.
Oh, sorry.
So I suppose this must be a supplement to other avenues to order MRT. Is that accurate?
Haley?
Yeah, that's correct. So I know right now Connexus is working on adding an MRT program through their offender success or their Second Chance Act grant funding that they presented on a couple meetings ago. But I know that they don't serve folks. Marvin might be able to correct me. The exact age group is a little bit higher than some of the probationers currently on felony probation. So this would, add an opportunity for some of those younger participants. And I'm not sure. I know there's other, treatment options available in the community, but I'm not sure specifically MRT aside from that Connexus program.
I would definitely support it, especially my recollection is that Second Chance Act is it 21 and over? So maybe this, this would be for the, younger folks, 18 to under that age, under 21.
That is correct. There is an age requirement for the Second Chance program.
And Marvin, is there a waiting list now for MRT or people waiting to get in?
There isn't at this point because it's not actually available.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay.
My understanding is that KPEP used to have an MRT program, but due to COVID, they're not able to run that program remotely.
Okay.
Haley, do we know if we were able to get this money for this proposed budget item for MRT? Would we be able to find providers willing to do it remotely?
Yeah, I would have to go out for a bid, so I'm not sure who would be interested. I know the provider that Connexus is using, seems to have some interest. I'm not sure who would all be bidding on that if K-Pep would again.
All right, anybody else with any questions or any comments, discussion with regard to which budget proposal? It sounds like a couple of people are leaning toward including that MRT proposed funding. Anybody take the opposite position and want to discuss it?
I make a motion that we go with proposal 2.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second for that motion?
I'll support that motion.
All right. Then all in favor of the second budget proposal, which is the budget amount of $204,489, which is to include the $8,750 for the MRT. Please say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, hearing none opposed, then the board will put forth the budget proposal as indicated, that second option proposed by Haley here today with regard to our fiscal year 2022 budget. All right, then I guess those are the only two issues on our agenda this afternoon. Braden, do we have any persons, public comments or interest in commenting here? Braden, have we lost you? There we go.
I'm here. I'm getting somebody else
All
started.
right.
What was the question? You're wondering if there's any comments on YouTube?
Yes,
only thing I do around
the
here.
question was whether we have any public comments, anybody
No.
joining us from the public?
One watching now, and that's actually my cell phone because I wondered if the stream was up and running.
All right.
Sorry, you have no fans.
All right, well, this will be the time for public comment. Doesn't sound like there is any. Our next meeting is scheduled for July 21st. I do have a procedural issue. Sheriff Bailey, I believe you are the vice chair. I will be on vacation at a baseball tournament on July 21st. All right, do you plan on being able to be present that day?
Yeah, I will be. I don't know if I
Okay.
can run the meeting as smoothly as you have, but I will try.
I'm sure you have run plenty of meetings in your day. You'll do just fine. I have no doubt.
I would just like to add in as we approve that budget is I sit on the state committee and we got to spend that money. If we don't spend money, the board is looking at in the future, taking money away from the units that don't spend it and giving it to somebody that does. So we got to make sure if we're going to do a program that we spend that money. They don't like to get money back at the end of the year that hasn't been spent for what it was allocated for. So they're cracking down on all the counties across the state that have the programs, saying if you're going to budget and ask for money, then you need to put the programs together and spend it.
Was there any discussion in that about different areas having different providers in different areas being able to provide virtual services and some places in other areas not being willing to do that kind of a thing?
I'm sure they'll look at that, but in the past, the problem has been that money has gone budgeted out to CCAVs and they haven't spent it. And they want to make sure that if you're going to get the money, that you're going to use it and you're going to help people, or they're going to give it to counties that do have programs and do use it. So, and I think Haley's doing a great job now. I think we had some problems when we were in between having a director that just want to make sure that it's important that when we receive this money from the state, that we do everything we can to make sure we have the programs to spend down the money. It's just like the county commissioners. I get a budget. If I don't use something, they take a look at, well, can I cut you there? You didn't use it last year. So, but the other thing I wanted to say, because COVID is a big deal, we've been tracking it in the jail that we started doing saliva tests September 10th, 2020. And we have tested 2,359 people because within 24 hours, we are testing anybody that comes into our jail. And since September 10th, 2020, 2,354, and we've had 47 people out of that 2,359 come back positive. So the numbers are not, causing major issues in here, because we do have room for, isolation and quarantine. So the majority of people coming, when we do test them on that day, they come back negative.
Thank you, Sheriff. Anybody have any questions or comments about Sheriff Bailey's comments? Haley, did you have anything else today?
Nope. I would just, agree with, Sheriff Bailey's point, just a reminder that we did ask for $214,000 around that amount for 2021, and we were allocated $150,000. So just keeping that in mind as well, that hopefully we ask for we get what we asked for, but just keeping that in mind.
All right, thank you, Haley. Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
You were starting to worry
I'll
me.
support.
All right, with that second, we are adjourned.